right into it. So we are live, my friend. Hey, everybody, this is Tom from Small Scale Life. Welcome to another Ant Live. This is Adam and Tom, so we call it Ant for right now. But this is our third show. So this is Tom.
Hey, and I'm Adam.
Hey. I've never met you before. I don't know how you got on this podcast.
No, well, so they let anyone onto this thing,
There we go. I was getting some feedback. Sorry. I missed you. What did you say there, buddy?
They let anybody on this thing.
Oh, I know. I do. I got to really have a better bouncer, I think. So, yes. Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thanks again, Adam, for being back on and going on our third. Pinky's up. Yes, sir. Pinky's up. Yes, I have my own. And delicious. It's very good. Just good old-fashioned water today. So, sober October. We're doing good right that, I think. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah. For the most part, it's
for the most part, yes.
Pretty good. It's pretty easy. If you stay busy enough, you forget about drinking.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Yeah, and we had a great time this weekend with some friends, and just wasn't an issue. And usually we, Tim and I, we usually get together and we have a couple beers and stuff, but we just didn't. We were doing other things, and it was a lot of fun. So, you don't need it all the time, right?
Well, that's the thing. When you sit there and you go, okay, I'm not going to drink for this month, you start realizing that you don't need it
right
in order to have fun. That's, you start, and you have fun in different ways.
Right.
Not just, people saying something silly or something dumb, or, it's.
That just happens naturally with us anyway. So,
absolutely it does,
Yeah.
And I found that drinking my water here is I add a little salt to it.
Oh,
believe it or not, it really helps make it. I don't know. I just enjoy it. It's weird. I didn't like it at first. Now I actually enjoy it.
Okay,
so, kind of like beer. You don't like it at first, and then you kind of enjoy it. And same thing.
And some of us add, olives to our beer and make a beer teeny. It happens, and it's kind of the same principle, adding that saltiness to the beer. But,
weird.
It's a little weird. Yes. And that's what I do. And I'm kind of weird. So it works, brother. It works. So anyway, yeah, we have an exciting topic today. We titled it Mindset and Milestones, Prepping for a Life Upgrade. And this can be wide open, pretty general. We were talking about prepping and everything, and then it kind of morphed a little bit into something else. And, I think it'll be kind of a good discussion, especially with people that are thinking about launching a major effort, a major life upgrade. I mean, a life upgrade, that sounds like there's two ways you can go about it, right? I mean, a big change in life can be something drastic and bad, or a life upgrade. That's a positive. That sounds positive to me. So things are going to be happening. You're going to be extremely busy. Your life is going on this path, and suddenly we're going on a different one, and hopefully in the right direction. So there's some things we can do to get ourselves ready for that, believe it or not, because, once we're on this path, that's going to be our focus. And sometimes it takes time for that money to roll in. Sometimes it takes time for things to start working. And sometimes it takes definitely discipline, planning, execution, and some stick-to-itiveness. And it can get scary. And you have this. I mean, you have done this in your own life with Modern Frontier Farm. So do you want to kick us off here and just you were kind of the brains behind this one. So what do you think? Where are you at? What were you thinking when you thought this was a good topic?
Okay, so we all want to prep in some regards or another. We all do. Everyone has insurance, Social Security in and of itself. That's preparedness, sponsored, or should I say sponsored, or like forced on by the government. So,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So we're already prepping in some way or another. And a lot of times we don't want to, saving for retirement or saving for a rainy day. We're like, well, is that rainy day ever going to happen? Same thing with our food preps, right? With our food preps, with our life preps, with our household preps. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to, is anything really bad ever going to happen? Well, you look down in North Georgia and Tennessee right now in Appalachia, like they're having a rough time of it, right?
Right.
So does it happen? Absolutely, it happens. Is it going to happen to you? God, I hope not.
Right.
But it could. But then on the other side, when you do prep, you have this nest egg of stuff that you can utilize, that you're going to utilize no matter what.
Right.
Gives you an opportunity to take on some challenges that you might not have done otherwise. And that's what my wife and I did, is we said, hey, it made the transition in our life easier. Going from one job to starting a business and going full bore on that business, it helped just a little bit more. So that's one of those things that we rethinking the idea of prepping, not just for bad days, but giving you opportunities for extraordinary, awesome days, and for you to build that launch pad so you can make your life what you need it to be, not just what you want it to be, but what you need it to be.
Yeah, I would agree. And that weather event, there's Tornado Alley, right? And these folks are dealing with tornadoes all the time. Florida's dealing with hurricanes all the time. And then you had this odd, strange hurricane that rolled right up into North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and they, the people in the hollers and Asheville, these other places, they're not ready for that. Places that were not in a floodplain suddenly were washed away by a flooded river. They had saturated ground. They had creeks that were full already from 3 heavy days of rain, and all of a sudden this thing rolls in and dumps obscene amounts of rain down on them, and it was crazy. And that is one extreme, right? We saw in 2008, which was a big tipping point for me. We saw people losing their houses, losing their jobs, losing their houses, coming in their house, leaving the keys on the counter and walking away because they couldn't afford it. And they just said, my credit, whatever, we're out of here. And, that's another event, right? Or you have a big blizzard and you have icy roads and you can't get to the store, especially if you're in a remote spot like we were, where suddenly, hey, it looks fine in the Twin Cities, looks fine, Red Wing. I get out on the road and the wind is howling across the bluff and it's a whiteout condition, and it just went just like that. And that's another condition, and people get sick, and they might be down and out for a while. You have something happen and your car's broken down, and just preparing for the rainy day, what does Jack Spirko say, for when times get tough, or even when they don't, right? Launching a business, that is another event, or something even simple like Whole30, prepping the week's worth of food, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's just set and ready to go. That's a different kind of prep, but it's all kind of the same. It's in the same neighborhood. It's in the same realm. So, yeah. So, thinking back to where you were gearing up to launch Modern Frontier Farms, you just gotten out of your HVAC job and you're starting to spool up and get ready to launch this thing. I mean, what preps, what things were you putting in place, or had you put in place to kind of help that transition? What did you guys do?
Well, okay, to start off with, we had our general preps, right? And obviously you have your cheap ones, your rice and your beans, you have your salts, but we also had, I'm the meat guy, had a bunch of meats stored up, right? And, so we had our couple of freezers stored up. We're going, okay. So on the prep side, we had that. We had canned goods. We had jellies, jams, all these things that we stored up and took our time doing, our tomato sauces and such. And for a couple of years, we're stocking up. Then we had I had paper towel, toilet paper, some bleaches, we had things to clean and, to make those things available to us. Even the snacky stuff, we're buying in large quantities, going to, Costco or whatnot, or we find
Sam's Club.
Sam's Club, doing the deals, finding those big deals, and sitting and going, oh, this is a good deal. We're going to jump on it and take care of that. So that was on the prepping side, right?
Right.
And we're going to use them eventually, right?
Right. So it wasn't like 2020 and all of a sudden people were rushing out because they had never done this before and just clean the whole shelf out and there's nothing left. This was a slow ramp up over time. How many years do you think you'd been working on starting to get like a bigger, more stacked pantry and paper room, essentially, with your paper goods and your toilet paper and your towels and all that stuff? How long do you think it took to get to that point? How long have you been doing it?
Well, I mean, we've been prepping since probably 2008.
Okay.
That was kind of a big time, sitting there going, wow, things can happen.
Yeah.
But that was also learning skills. That was another thing that we really prepped on, was building skills that would actually come in handy. And part of that was having a garden, knowing how to grow a garden, learning all these in and outs of the homesteader type podcasts, and these, listening to all that stuff. That's all part of prepping,
right. Yeah.
That's making your life better.
Right.
So we did that. We had our chickens. We, water, basic water filters and water. And
so you had a water strategy too, then?
Of course, you have to have water strategy. I mean, that's the base of everything.
There's my good friend Greg Burns from Nature's Image Farm checking in. Hello, Greg. Hello, Susan. Hope you all are doing great. Thank you, man. He does a great live show every Wednesday with his crew. They talk beekeeping, all things beekeeping. So the stream team is awesome. I got to meet them in Wausau, Wisconsin this spring, all three of them. And Susan was there too. And oh man, it was so much fun. We just had a great time. So there, a little shout out to you, Greggy. Thanks for checking in, man. And I got to get you on the show here soon, and we can stream a little bit and talk. And he's another good one that helped me on my way. He was one of the first guys that I talked to and learned a lot. And we're going to talk about our experience here in a little bit. I think he cautioned Julie and me about the simple life and going out to the farm and thinking everything was going to be bliss and kumbaya, and suddenly it was like, oh, there's a lot of work here. and some prepping would have helped us along the way, and we weren't quite ready for that. So yeah, that's a little different deal. So 2008, yeah, keep me in line. I hear you, Greg.
I'll do my best. I mean, he's his own guy,
Well,
he's a grown ass man, he does what he wants.
Clearly Greg doesn't know you, my friend. So, I got to keep you in line.
Together we are dangerous.
Yes,
why we're doing that, right?
I know.
Dangerous to something at least. But yeah, so anyways, as you're saying,
as I was saying, 2008. So yeah, we'll get back to the farm in a minute. But 2008 for you, I mean, you're in the HVAC business at that point, and everything was cratering out. So you guys were at the tip of the spear too with that, right? And I was in the consulting world in Illinois, and I had my biggest client call and say, you know what? All the projects we've given you, we're pulling them all back. I have to keep my people employed, and you've got no projects. And I had people in 3 offices in St. Paul, California, and Aurora, Illinois, that were all relying on me to give them work. And it was like, oh, we're screwed. So it was a really eye-opening moment. I mean, and it was at that point when that was a tipping point for me, where I was like, if I lose my job and I can't bring in the income, I'm not going to afford this house. And also, how the heck are we going to eat? I don't know how to do anything. I really don't know how to do everything. I sit in the office and plug on computer. That's all I know how to do. And Jules was reading. We hadn't even thought about preps before. We had never thought about having more than just, maybe a couple weeks worth of food. And then it was like, oh, this could be a big, big, big deal if we lose the job, and how we can afford everything and put food on the table. I can't go to Walmart and pay the mortgage and put food on the table. It's not going to happen. So that was a big wake up call for me. Jules was reading Little House in the Big Woods, to the boys, and I was just sitting there just panicking listening to this. I'm like, wow, those guys did everything right. I mean, they know how to do stuff. I don't know how to do anything. And not that I'm going to churn my own butter, but I need to know how to do something. And it sounds like you were already you had chickens. We had a farm and we didn't have chickens. And here's another guy, Jay, he's got his own chickens out there in East Coast. So, some of us didn't go down that rabbit hole. I started with gardening. That was it. And that's where I kind of stopped. So,
Well, in 2008, I didn't have chickens at that.
Oh, okay.
In 2008, I was just building. I was like, yeah, there's things that are happening in this world. There's, I've always been a little bit of a prepper man mindset. Like, you know what? I love backpacking. I loved hiking. I had some freeze-dried food, not too major, but then I was like, I don't have a skill set. I don't have the skill sets that I need to make things work the way I want to. And a lot of it was history for me, listening to stories of my great grandma, having in 2010, we had our own house. So then we had a house, and this is like, that was kind of cool. Like, hey, we have a house now. And that gives us opportunities for gardening and just going down that rabbit hole one step at a time. I knew nothing. I hardly knew how to grow the tomatoes the way I wanted to grow tomatoes. Like, how do you do all this stuff?
Right. Yep.
And building those skill sets, that's all part of prepping, right?
Right. Absolutely.
To know how to take care of things, how to take care of yourself, learning how to build stuff better, fix stuff. That's all those skill sets. So
yeah, absolutely.
But in 20, I don't even know what year it is anymore. In 2022, I guess this is where everything leads up to.
Yeah.
12 years ago, we moved to the house we have now.
Right.
Or we have our farm. I went across the street. I started talking to a guy over there, got into regenerative agriculture, cool stuff, helped him out. He was teaching me how to do things. He needed help there. He wanted help growing. So I started helping him grow his business because I thought it was cool. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is cool. So showed me how to move the chickens, showed me how to move the cows, point the pigs, collect the chickens, everything, and why he does this, why doesn't he do that? And he's been around the block, so he knew a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So I fell in love with it.
Right.
And I'll just go over there and get my farm fix on, right? In 2019, he died. He was 42 years old, died of a UTI. And so I wanted to have that, so I started my own thing here.
Yeah.
Got a couple cows, and things just got out of hand. Now, I was doing HVAC, the heating and cooling guy, right? I'm sitting there doing mostly commercial work. The work was starting to slow down. This was after a couple years after 2020. My body is falling apart. I'm 30 years old. I'm falling apart. I'm walking around with a cane all winter because my sciatica is so bad that I take a step and I just fall over, So I'm like, it was bad news. My boss came to me and said, "Hey, Adam, you can't be doing this anymore.
Right.
You're 39 years old. You're walking around with a cane. What the hell are you doing?" So I said, "You know what? He goes, you need to figure something out. As a man, I'm very, very prideful. I got to take care of the family. came home and I told my wife, and she goes, "It'll be okay. We'll get this taken care of and we'll figure it out." So long story short, all those preps that we had, all those skill sets that I built in the past gave us an opportunity, because that was one of the biggest scary things for us, was to make a maneuver going, we already have the farm business going.
Right.
Let's do this full time now.
Right. Yeah. The leap.
So, and especially at first, it was trying to get our finances figured out, but we saved money.
Yeah.
On money. We prepped on not doing certain things because we knew that we were eventually going to do this. And this was the force that needed to happen in order to make things happen. So it became a bad thing of getting laid off.
Right.
Became a blessing to us.
Right.
For that, all the skill sets came forward, and those came front and center. And then all my preps, hey, we didn't have to buy toilet paper.
True.
Until there was another sale. Like, hey, there's a sale on toilet paper. We'll buy some more toilet paper.
Right.
We didn't need it yet. Paper towel, rags, bleach, soaps, laundry detergents, all these things that we spent money on in the past came to the future to our rescue,
Yeah.
So our overall grocery bill, bringing that in, was a lot cheaper. To prepare for this moment, we were saving money. We were putting money aside. Like I said, we weren't sitting there going, you've been in our kitchen. Our kitchen is 1970s, puked all over it. It is disgusting. But
it works.
It works. It's functional. It makes things happen. Because I didn't put the money into the kitchen like we wanted to, we were able to take that money and put it towards the business and really make that business work and shine.
Right. Yeah, that's an important thing. You had a plan going in. It's when you step out and you don't quite have a plan, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what have we just done? That was kind of the trap we were caught in with the little farm. And it was a beautiful place, but we didn't have a plan for what we were going to do with it. We didn't have a plan we had money in the bank, but it wasn't like, we thought we could change the farmhouse and make it into what we wanted. Because, hey, every HGTV show, it's a half an hour and they have a beautiful place at the end. It could be the most dilapidated thing in Detroit. There's two guys that go into Detroit and they take these houses that are like, oh my gosh, and they turn it into a palace, right? It doesn't work like that in reality, especially with these houses that were built in 1910 or 1900 in our case. It takes probably a bulldozer in our case, but it worked for the time being, and we learned a lot along the way. And because we moved from apartment, we were in North Minneapolis, then apartment, then this farm with no storage space and no basement to store anything in. I mean, whatever preps we had, we kind of burned through, and we didn't have a lot of extra stuff when we got there prep wise, so it's kind of a process of building back better, shall we say, or building things back now is now that we have more space and more storage space and can actually do things. So it was kind of a curve. It was a learning curve, and not having a plan going in, except, hey, we just want a farm. We want to have a farm and land, and we'll figure it out when we get there. I mean, that was kind of a different approach, right? And you had your preps in place, and it's like, oh, something happened, now let's go. It's go time. So I like what Jay said here. This is really this is good. This is right. Modular and incremental. Things build on themselves, right? Tomatoes are the gateway. Chickens are the gateway. It gets you into this world and gets you going on this. For me, it was tomatoes, right? 2008. I'm sitting there panicking that I'm going to lose my job and I don't have any skills. And the lady across the street brings over a wagon full of vegetables, and she was raving about square foot gardening and Mel Bartholomew and that whole process. And I'm like, She's got vegetables. And where do they come from? From her backyard. How did she do that? We need to go over there for dinner. I need to find out how she did that. Let's figure this out. And sure enough, we had 2 square foot gardens. And the next year I added on and we went from there. So, it's all, yeah, I think that's right, Jay. I think it is modular and incremental. Wouldn't you say? I mean, it started somewhere with you, right? Their tomato, and then you got your chickens, and then, okay, we can get some more things and we'll have it in our storeroom and away we go.
You build on skills, right? You take one skill, you build off that skill, and you keep getting better. And that goes with anything in life, it's, you have to start off something and then keep on moving. You can't just stay in one spot.
Right.
You have to keep building on that. If you're depressed or you're dumb, you're ignorant on something, even if you're dumb or ignorant on something, or you're depressed, okay, this little bit here helps. This little bit here helps, and it just keeps growing. And before long, you can pull yourself into a better situation. If you don't know how to build a house, well, first build a birdhouse.
Yeah,
you know how to, and that's something that helped me when I was teaching kids in HVAC. Like I was taught this when I was young, right? How to use a screwdriver. I had a kid, fresh apprentice. He was so fresh, he had a placenta hanging from his ear. That's how green this guy was. Right out of high school, he wasn't even 18 yet. He was still 17. And I go, hey, can you hand me a screwdriver? He goes, all right. I asked him for a Phillips screwdriver. He goes, what's a Phillips screwdriver? Yeah.
Plus or minus, dude.
I go, it's the one that's across, not flat.
Plus or minus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he caught on, and now he's a very successful HVAC service tech, and he knows a lot, and he's learned a lot.
You learn over time.
A while, but he, you have to build somewhere. Like, this is the kid that he kept running the screwdriver backwards, the drill backwards, taking the screws off, and he was stripping out every single screw on every single unit. So I'm just like, oh, buddy, come on. It was painful. But now he's a good service tech.
Right.
And I could tell you other stories. It's not proper for right here, but
right. When we get back together. By the way, I am going to be coming down your way early November, so we'll chat about that.
Okay.
I've got to be down there in Madison, Madtown for I'm going to be speaking, so it'll be good.
Speaking even.
Well, yes, it's yeah. With the DOT and railroads and such, but that's a different deal. So yeah, I can do that, brother. I can do a podcast, and I can do that too. I'm good.
There you go.
Be presenting to high school students tomorrow. It's going to be great. This is cool, and he's right about this. So, if we think about the modular, skills building on each other, what happens when you start to garden? Then you have extra produce. One, you can give it away. Or two, like most of us do, we got to figure out, wow, what am I going to do with all this stuff, right? I mean, I have so much basil upstairs right now. We made a ton of pesto tonight, and Julie did a great job with it. And now I've got, half the basil just sitting there. So I'm going to dehydrate it, right? So, I mean, then you start to try to figure out how to do food preservation, right? And that's another skill, another prepping skill. You do the garden, you have tomatoes. What are you going to do? Make salsa, sauce, ketchup. You can start to make that stuff. You can give that away, or you can sell some, to close friends, or give it away as gifts. I mean, and this is another power right here, the bartering. I mean, you don't have to give cash for everything, right? You can, hey, here's eggs. How about meat? Here's some jam. How about some firewood? I mean, you can start to do stuff, or labor is barter, right? Hey, I'm putting in a new garden. I need to put in the compost. My knees are really sore. Can you come over here and help? And I've got something for you. Maybe I've got some wine that I made or kombucha or something, and I'll just, if someone ends up in your truck, it just got there, or some sourdough or something, I mean, this is the way it all goes around, services, exchanging for services and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, Jay has really done some really cool stuff over there, and it's cool to watch it all unfold, especially with canning and the cranberry jalapeno jelly. Oh, it is so good. And it's kind of fun to watch how every year batches get made and batches go away. It's pretty cool. So it's good stuff, man. So it does come back to skills. Absolutely. Skills, always skills. And that's so important. I mean, and it's everything, right? I mean, from gardening to livestock to budgeting, right? And managing the pantry, managing your preps. I mean, you can't just let stuff sit there and get 15 years old and then think it's going to be good, right? Amy Dingman from A Farmer's Kind of Life, she just had a post that she was downstairs looking for flour and sugar, and she found three brand new sacks of flour, or packages of flour and sugar, all molded out because it got stuck down in the basement, down on the lowest shelf. Nobody saw it. You got stuck there for a while and just molded up, and that's it. It's done. It's got to go out to the compost pile, so
right,
it happens. So you got to rotate, it's a whole process.
Yeah, I mean, working with your preps, doing it correctly, it can save you a lot of money. Doing it incorrectly, it can cost you a lot of money.
Right.
And that's where a lot of my customer base right now is. They'll buy all sorts of beef, or all sorts of pork, or all sorts of chicken. I just dropped off 15 chickens to one lady.
Wow.
Like, hey, I need chicken. Let's fill my freezer up. And she preserves a lot of the chicken and does all those other everything else that she needs to do with the chicken. So it's important to know what you're going to do.
Right. I mean, think about it. I've got one of your chickens thawing out in my sink in the laundry room right now. And we're going to do a beer can chicken out of that. We'll take the carcass and we'll make a soup out of it, and so you'll get many meals out of one chicken. It's you can do that with turkeys, beef broth. You can do all kinds of things, get really creative. So did you not like the idea of a beer can chicken with your beautiful chicken, my friend?
Oh, I love beer can chicken.
Okay, good.
You
made a little face. I was like, oh, is he not a beer can chicken guy?
No. I mean, you make whatever you want with that bird. It's your bird now. I took your hard stolen money, and, I'm more than happy to let you do it. You want to sit there and take that chicken and just boil it down and make it into some disgusting broth or soup or whatever, fine. You want to make it into an awesome meal? Absolutely fine.
Why not both?
Well, I like soup. If you make a delicious soup, I'd rather you do that.
Well, yeah, we'll take the carcass, once, we'll take the bones and all that. So the meat, that's going to be a great meal. So absolutely, both are going to be a great meal. So looking forward to that. So Adam has chickens. If somebody needs chicken, talk to Adam. He ships.
And I don't sell eggs.
Nope.
I figured out that everybody and their brother are selling eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know what I found a better use for my chicken eggs are than selling them?
What's that?
Is I give them to my neighbors so that, if there's something that goes wrong, I'm buying my neighbors is what I do. It's that social equity.
Yep. Yes.
I'm giving you this chicken or these chicken eggs. I'm buying you was what I'm doing.
No, so, I got you. I mean, our friend Adam from Colorado, Adam Rapier, not Adam Rick, but Adam R from Colorado. He did the same thing when he lived in the Denver area. They had chickens under the table and they had bees and they weren't supposed to, but he would give samples. He would give things to the neighbors to, and they liked that.
A little hush money.
They weren't complaining. So, and there's nothing illegal about that. It was just, hey, I'm sharing with you,
Right.
So,
Well, you know, the point of my life is I want to be so gosh darn lovable that no one wants me to go away. Uh, so, it,
Well, having hung out with you a few times, you don't go away. So, you know,
no, well, you just show up, you know.
I
So,
know, right?
but that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the point. You want to
Yeah.
be so gosh darn lovable that no one
Hmm.
wants you to leave, no one
Right.
wants you to go away.
Hmm.
That's they're like, well, yeah, it might be illegal to have those chickens, but I like those eggs, and they're
Right.
not bothering anyone,
Hmm.
and no one else knows that they're there but me. And
Right.
cool, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You know, one of the coolest things that are happening in the town next to me, they have this beautiful mansion up on a lake, and it's this big, beautiful mansion with this beautiful porch, and on that porch, they would have little events. You know, they'd have music,
Yeah.
and they didn't pull any permits or anything else
Hmm.
like that. And you know, it's a residential area, and they have some. They started getting some better artists. You know, year after year after year.
Yeah.
And now there's probably like 3, 4, 500 people show up to
Right.
listen to one of these bands play on the porch, and they call it the Magic Mansion
Yeah.
tradition. You
Hmm.
know, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is happening. What's happening? You guys can't be doing this. And then everyone's like, wait a minute. We know it's not technically legal, but we like it. So they made an exception for them and they can stick around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of the point is be so gosh darn lovable that no one wants you to leave. No one wants you to go away.
Yeah, one of Julie's former bosses was doing that in downtown St. Louis Park, and he lived literally a block away from the city hall and police station. But such nice people, and they had, we're getting bigger and bigger people, and they call it the Capybara Lounge, and he had like Martin Zeller there from Gear Daddies, and some other names were coming there. It was really pretty cool. We got invited a couple times, and it was a lot of fun, and just so darn lovable. Like us. We're so darn lovable, man.
Yeah, just big time.
Yeah, because it's when, you're having that conflict, and you're trying to ram your thing through and do whatever, and then people make the little phone call and you start having some people in blue show up, or the inspector show up, and hey, what's going on here? So yeah, it's a good strategy, my friend. Absolutely. So you were talking about money, and money
Yep.
makes the world go round. So as you are gearing up to launch your business, you and your lovely wife sat down at the table and said, okay, we're going to do this. I mean, Dave Ramsey says 3 to 6 months saved up. Did you have something like that before you launched, or was it just, okay, we're ready and we've got what we got, here we go? I mean, what did you, I mean, and you don't have to give numbers or anything, but just
We
what was your financial strategy going in?
Financial strategy is don't lose the house.
Yeah, I got you,
So
man.
uh, for a while there it was like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
We have, you know, some money saved up. We didn't have a
Right.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't enough to really like live off of.
Right.
You know, got some unemployment. That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
much. Was like, okay, well, I can try and do a couple different sales strategies, trying to sell the product there. I was also doing a couple of side jobs, you know, helping
Mm-hmm.
people out with their furnace and ACs.
Right.
So that gave me opportunities to make a little bit of extra cash there. My wife got a promotion that really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, selling a little bit of stuff online,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like, you know, excess stuff, you know, clean out the
Right.
house, you
Yep.
know, put it on Marketplace,
Right.
put it on Craigslist,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we're bringing a little bit here, a little bit there, doing little side jobs, and trying to find ways for us to make the ends meet.
Right.
And we're able to do that.
Right.
I have my wife and two beautiful young kids.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep a roof over our heads.
Imagine that. Yeah, I know, right? So, plus you have that nice freezer. You want to keep that because that has all the meat.
Absolutely. um, and it's such a
Yeah.
butt to move, especially after
Yeah.
we collected all this crap.
Mm-hmm.
So how were we going to do that? How are we going to make that happen
Yeah.
and still remain a healthy person?
Right.
And that's it.
Yep.
It took some doing, but we made it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And once again, we didn't have a whole heck of a lot of debt ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
This was a plan in the long run. When were we going to launch? I don't know. I think our idea originally was like, when I'm 45 years old, we'll be ready.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not 45 yet, so
right.
And we've been at this full time for a couple of years now. So
right. Yep. I get it, man, and that was us. That was a saving grace for us going into Driftless Oaks Farm. Is we didn't have any debt going in, and we bought that place, and it was a steal. I mean, it was a really good deal, and for we found out why, but we tried to stay out of debt and doing it that way, and then just really watching the dollars. And when we found out we really couldn't invest and get the return out of investment in the property, really couldn't start a you pick 'em flower farm. It wasn't the right property for that. And it was like, okay, we got to get out of it. But we didn't lose anything in the process, which was amazing. But we went in, the biggest thing was going in without a huge debt load, without any debt. And I think we had a car payment, but it wasn't like years past. We had used the North Minneapolis experience to really dig out of debt. We used the Dave Ramsey, the baby steps, and really worked hard to get out of that. Jules had a great job. I had a great job, and just really kept expenses low and really climbed out of it. So that's a key. I mean, if you're carrying a huge amount of debt load, it's that much harder, that's much stress. And that's where we were in Illinois with a job market cratering, and with a big debt load, credit card and car payment and a mortgage. It was like, oh my God, this is bad. So we learned some big lessons in 2008. So yeah, budgeting, having a little bit of savings, 3 to 6 months, ideally, maybe even more. If you're starting a new business and launching headfirst into it, that's probably a pretty good idea, I think. But there's times where you just got to go too, right?
It's not necessary. The biggest thing is not having the debt load.
Yep.
If the debt load is number one, if you're sitting there, do you need that fancy new car? Well, probably not. Well, it's more reliable, or it's cool, or I needed that big truck,
Cybertruck. Everybody needs a Cybertruck.
Oh, you know what? Elon should probably hire you just to do his jingles.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot of other words that could rhyme with truck, but we're not doing this. Is a kid-friendly show. We're not doing that.
Is it?
I don't
know. We haven't figured that one out yet.
No, we haven't.
But I mean, going on these expensive vacations, we didn't do that for so many years beforehand. So there's been sacrifice before the business even started.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that, because we didn't go down to Mexico with our friends and sit on a beach. I not to rub it in, Tom, not that that's wrong or anything, but we didn't do that. We didn't.
Clearly referencing our last show, The Importance of Getting Away, where I talked about our trip to Tamarindo, Costa Rica, and did a little yoga retreat. But that was really good, my friend. So we saved up for that and paid in cash. Woo!
There you go.
Yeah.
We didn't fix up the house. We still have this ugly carpet in here. I fix a lot of stuff up myself, with my skill sets.
Yeah.
So, with all those things that happen, it's important for us to, get ourselves ready. And not only that, but we were mentally ready.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, well, we've had the pain before. we've known what it felt like to go, oh crap, butt pucker a little bit. We're not going to be able to make our bills. We have $100 for the next week to feed our family. All right, how are we going to do this?
Yes.
So doing all those mental preparations means something, and something real.
Yeah.
So just because you're not doing it today doesn't mean you're not helping out for tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, I mean that is a horrible feeling. I've had that feeling when you have a lot of month left and not a lot of jingle in your pocket. It was, what year was that? 2013 or something? 2014. Jules and I had that moment. It was about 2013. Where we had like $50 in the account, and we had just gotten through New Year's, and we're going, "How are we going to do this? This is not good." And that was a real eye-opening moment. That, hey, we need to change, and we need to stop the bleed and get going in the right direction. So I do like Jay's comment here about trading your car payment for a vehicle you can wrench on. That's true. Boy, I've lived in car hell for years and years and years and years and years. Cars dying, cars having major problems. I'm not the mechanic. I can build a lot of stuff with wood and everything, but mechanics, that's not my thing. But I know you can YouTube University. You'll learn a lot of skills that way too. So for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do on your vehicle to save money. Now, once again, right now I'm very time poor also.
Yes. Yep.
And that's another thing that you got to get yourself into a situation that not time poor. Because time, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
Well,
we all have the same amount of hours in a day.
And this is where the power of the network and the power of the community comes into play. Because I know you have a car guy and a dude that does stuff and can fix a lot of stuff, and and helps you out with things. So having that community is so important with all of this, whether you're starting a business or just trying to get your car to operate properly, right? Or butcher a hog, or help you butcher a big steer, right? So, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
It's that community, building that community, preparing yourself to have good people around you, good friends. Because when I first started the business, several of my good friends were my first customers. And several of them are some of my best customers because, it sounds cocky or weird for me to say it now, but I have so many friends that they go, no, don't give us a friends and family discount. Give me, I want to pay that full price.
Right. Yeah.
One in particular, my friend Ryan Kraft, he's been a great friend of mine, and he still to this day, as much as he does for me, I feel so incredibly like I feel like I need to give more to him. Like, here, have a steak. Nope, I'm buying it. You I can't afford that steak right now. I'm not taking it. And just he demands that he pays full price, and I really appreciate that out of him.
Yeah.
So building those people around you, that's a prep.
Yeah.
The building community is a prep.
Right.
Good friends, good family, getting rid of the toxic ones, the ones that take all your time and you don't get anything out of, getting rid of that. That's a prep too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yes, I know all about that. We will have to talk offline about that, but and it's something else too, because a lot of us are internet friends, and we don't see each other in person. Like my buddy Jay. I mean, it's been some years since I've seen that guy, and he's a good friend. Greg Burns. I mean, sometimes you got to make the trip to go see him, and that's something that I should do with Jay, is go out and see him. But I've got friends. Part of small scale life is I've got friends all over the country, down in Dallas, Texas. Greg Bell, that was fun to come up and see his farm and make that trip. And you, of course, and then Jay's out on the East Coast. And then I've got friends in Australia and, people in Colorado and Wyoming, but do I have them right here? And that's something I have to work on here, is build the network right here. So, hey, I need a cup of sugar. I got to make friends with the neighbors, right? So that's
I'll
something
see you in 4 hours.
That's some very valuable sugar, my friend. As sweet as your face in our friendship.
Yes. So there's so many other ideas of preps that we don't even think of.
Yeah.
It's not just beans and bullets, right? It's
so many times they get caught up in the beans and bullets and toilet paper, and that's it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about all those other things: building that community, building that skill set, building what you did before, saving that money. I mean, it's worked because I've done all those things ahead of time.
Yeah.
I worked on myself. I'm a better person. I'm still becoming a better person every single day. Learn, do, grow.
Be a little better every day. Absolutely, my friend.
So, but yeah, that's what you have to do and all that stuff. Like my wife thought that I was weird for me having conversations and talking to people and learning how to talk and negotiate with people. Yeah. Now she has started and becoming friends with all these people. Like, you're talking to this weird guy off. He has a podcast and talking to him, and you invite him to our house. Oh my God, that's weird.
I know, right? Yeah.
And
she was very gracious to allow me in the house for sure. So,
well,
by the cows, but or your goats at the time. So
yeah, the goats. But all that led to what I'm doing now, and like synchronicity. I don't know. Maybe is it just me having the personality and seeing where that brings me? I don't know what it is. I really don't care what it is. All I know is those things that I did in the past.
Yeah.
Me today.
Yeah. I mean, it's function stacking, right? That's another one. You start to layer things on top of each other, and experience and your skills and your connections and your network and your community. And then if things start to stack up and you get momentum, right? And things start to change. So, it's a good thing. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, think back to where you were in 2008 and where you are today, even where you were in 2020 and where you are today, I mean, just total different path and totally changed and moving in the direction you want to go, hopefully. And it's a good thing, man. It's learn, do, grow, be a little better every day. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So I like it. I do like it. So, what other skills? What else are we missing? I mean, there's a lot of planning that goes in before you start to do these things. I mean, the financial piece, the preps piece, the legal piece, right? I'm sure you've got a lawyer or somebody that you've talked to as you start to move, especially in a food business, the licensing, all these things that you got to plan for and execute before you launch. I mean, you have to have all those pieces in place before the inspector comes, right?
Well, okay. So to be honest with you, pulling an LLC, a limited liability company, it was like when we first pulled our first one, my wife and I, we sat down, we're like, okay, we're going to do this tonight. And like, it's going to be a lot of work. We're going to go through, and we went online and we did a bunch of numbers and to put some information in. And then we hit send, and I looked at her, she looked at me like, was that it? It literally takes 5 minutes to pull an LLC. So, but learning all those things about taxes and how not to pay them.
Right.
to pay as little as you possibly can. And knowing the, food liability insurance, having those conversations, making phone calls to people. Do it now. If you have an idea of what you want to do, start looking at it.
Yeah.
Make a business plan. Have you ever made a business plan, Tom?
Oh, I've got lots of plans and ideas, but no, I really need to get into the the real details of it. So,
and once again, Google University or DuckDuckGo University,
right,
will teach you how to do that. It's not as difficult as you think. Having a conversation with the inspectors, it's not as scary as you think. That you just be honest with them. Just treat them like you would a good friend. Be genuine, be nice, and ask a lot of questions. They love it. They love to talk about themselves and say, hey, yes, I do this. I'm really proud of myself. They enjoy talking about what they do and feel like what they're doing is important. Whether you think it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. They love talking about themselves and they love helping you. And it makes them feel good. And that's what your point is you're trying to make them feel good. So inspectors, they're easy. I mean, I can get past any inspector by being super nice to them, by having conversation with them and asking lots of questions and not wasting their time. So
putting on my inspector hat, it's when things you're not responding, you're not making corrections, you're trying to hide stuff. That's or lying. That's when we start to dig, and it's not, I'm a nice guy. There are some inspectors and they know where the bodies are buried and they start digging and they will find amazing things. And, you, as an inspector, when things are fishy, you can just tell, and people get weird and squirrely, and it's, it's easy to find that stuff out. And yeah, we're human too, right? And we do like to help. I like to help people. I several of us say you can catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and it should be an educational experience and, helping people along to do the right thing, because people want to do the right thing. Sometimes they don't, but then they get a fine. They get a ticket, right? So, and that's how it is. That's a learning experience too. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much information out there. You really don't have an excuse. You may not have the time. That's why you do it a little by little, starting now. If you're going to do a business, if you have an idea for a business, start doing the research. There's so many businesses I looked at doing. I'm like, this would be great to open up a restaurant, open this, do that. Go down those rabbit holes. Let yourself explore those rabbit holes, and then you're going to go, oh, crap. I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah, the trick is when you have squirrel syndrome, and you see, oh, there's that shiny thing over there. Oh, there's this topic I want to talk to you about over here. And you're doing all this, and you're not staying on your path and doing what you should be doing. That's where you get in trouble too, I think.
Right. It's okay to say no. It's okay to quit. I think that's one of the biggest things I learned was it's okay to quit. And Adam, you were like, I was going to do a landscape business for a while. And I'm like, I just don't want to do a landscape business. I don't want to.
Yeah.
No, this sounds horrible.
Yep.
There's aspects of it I absolutely loved. Okay. What did I love about that? Well, I loved working in nature. I loved gardening. I didn't want to deal with chemicals.
Right.
I didn't want to sit there on a loud lawnmower for 6 hours a day and then run around with the skids, not skid steer, a weed wrap, weed rat. I can't even say the word.
The weed whip. Yeah, the weed
yeah.
whacker. Yeah, or
trimmer.
winter, drive a truck, plowing snow for 24 hours a day after big snow, That's
Right.
usually part of the off-season work is the snow plowing stuff. So, that's a big job too.
So, and I'm sure we could have a whole conversation about how to find your passion. But that would be a great topic for us to have a conversation on one of these days.
Yeah.
But once you find it, right? Or you at least have a good idea. I didn't know. Look, I grew up on the north side of Milwaukee. I'm a cityite. I can't believe I got to where I am now. There's no reason I should be doing what I'm doing. And guess what? I'm doing it, and I'm getting pretty darn successful at it. Finding a way to make it happen. I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I love every minute of it. And I want everyone to be out there enjoying what they're doing, or at least content enough doing what they're doing.
Right. And there's so many people that are just flat out miserable with what they're doing. And my parents were the same way, just hated it, and there's got to be a better way.
There's a better way.
Yeah. And they just didn't have the push or
the gut.
Just the chutzpah to do it,
A lot of times it's you. I'm flat out. I'm sorry if I offend someone. Don't be a coward. If you find something that you love and enjoy doing, go for it.
Yeah.
Tom, if you want to be a singer and a dancer, I support you. Do it. But you got to do it right. You got to put the work in. You got to put the time in. And I'm sure we could make you a YouTube sensation, just sitting there doing your dances and stuff. And
we already are a YouTube sensation. We had comments from friends. This is awesome.
It is cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was kind of fun to get a crush of comments in here. It's awesome. Love it.
Like it's almost a real thing now.
I know. 3 weeks in and starting. This is the way it goes. No, we need to have that conversation because Toolman Tim from his show, he and I did a live stream. Gosh, it was a couple years ago, and we were really digging into gardening and how to turn that into something. And that's something that we should revisit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then I'll be singing about worm poop, I'm sure.
Hey, you know what? Everything's singing when you use worm poop.
Worm poop man. Worm poop man.
Might have to work on that jingle.
Oh, I'll work on it, brother. It'll be at
right.
the end of the show by the end of this one, maybe not.
So,
I
guess to recap, it's from start to finish. If you're going to prep to do something awesome in your life, or in case something happens, making those next steps, you have to do your research. You got to put your time in. You have to suffer a little bit with not going on the long vacations, not doing certain things. It's as simple as you're not going to, if you really want to do a business, guess what? You're not going to go over and hang out with all your friends at the bar every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're not going to, that's not going to be able to do that anymore. You're going to have to focus on doing some work and building something awesome. Because guess what? The world needs it, and you deserve to do something good for yourself in the long term. And stop chasing the short-term goals. Start going for these long-term goals and figure out what you want to do in your life that makes you tick, makes you go, yes, this is the right thing. It may not be a job. It may not be a business. Maybe it's just a hobby that you do. Maybe you want to leave it as a hobby. That's fine too. Being in business isn't for everyone. But if that's what you want to do, go after it. Pitter patter.
Oh, I like that. I mean, it is all about the short-term sacrifices for the long haul, the long-term success, and being disciplined and focused and getting the stuff done. And then, at some point, again, the scale will start to tip and you'll get that momentum going. And then you can take a vacation, but it's going to be a lot of work. I mean, I've heard so many people and seen so many people where they're working harder for themselves than they ever did, an office gig or in an HVAC gig. Right. So yeah, takes work.
It takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, to be honest with you, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't even have to be really good at what you do. You just have to work harder than anyone else. That's it. That's all you got to do. Put more time into it, put more effort into it, and you'll win. It's never been easier to start a business than it is right now. With all the skill sets and all the tools and all the opportunities, no one wants to work. Everyone wants the easy route, and I get it. It's nice to sit there and do the easy thing. But if you want to make a business, you're going to have to work. Just put more time in, more effort in, and it'll happen. And there's a million different ways to make it happen, and they all lead to the same thing of success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's many paths to that place. There's many ways to go about it. But it takes a first step, right? And then another step and another step. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. All right, dude. Well, we are over the hour mark, and we should probably wrap this one up. Looking ahead up the week you got, any big things on your agenda? You working on anything new, or any sales we should be knowing about? Any opportunities to buy some of wonderful Modern Frontier Farms meats and products?
Well, I'll be down in Lake Geneva,
mm-hmm.
And then I'll be in Burlington. So that's on Thursday.
Chocolate City,
the farmers markets.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing a friend of mine with me. She's my good friend of mine. She's a chef.
Nice.
And we're going to be working together, and we're going to be soon opening Modern Frontier. And this, you're hearing this for the first time, right here live. Modern Frontier Catering.
Woo! Hey, man.
So, yeah. Yeah, so we're working on that.
Wow.
And, like adding another business to everything. Well, a little scary, a little concerning. Especially when you're putting in all the hours I'm doing now. And first one's not totally set up, but the opportunity is really strong with this. We can have a whole conversation on that. And getting my friend Melissa running on this, and letting her just run away with it and make it happen.
Yeah, and there's a whole layer there of strategy and thinking and where you're going with that, which is pretty cool, I think. I mean, boy, where did this catering business get all the meat for the catering operation? I just don't know where that would come from. Oh, look at that. Modern Frontier Farms. Oh,
it goes way deeper than that too. We'll talk about that sometime.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so and then on Wednesday I'll be at the very sad farmers market for the Dowson Farmers Market for 2024. Will be on Wednesday. This coming up Wednesday. So, and it'll only be a 3-hour market. We're closing early. Yeah, sad.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to give the organizer, that really nice lady, give her a hard time for me. So, because I know you do anyway. So, yeah.
So when I'm nice to her, she thinks I'm being mean or something.
She was fun. They were a good time. What's happening here? Well, I have cleared off the garden. I've got some strawberries to put down in the ground before everything freezes up. I don't know, we'll make it happen. And what else do we got popping? I've got comfrey that's growing back here. I don't know how it's going to work out. I might have to buy some more in the spring. But we'll see if it sprouts, and then I should get it in the ground. But we're at the end here, so frost and all that good stuff. I just need the roots in the ground and thriving. You know what I mean? So it's late though. Any thoughts on that?
Comfrey, it's an incredibly strong plant.
I know.
Surprised. Worst case scenario, you'll have to do some work down here in the spring and steal some of my comfrey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Processing basil. I've got a ton of basil, and then I've got salsa and sauce to make. So, and then we've got cranberry jalapeno jelly to make too, because it's cranberry festival time or cranberry harvesting time. So, this is a good time of year. So, yeah, man, it's good stuff. It's canning season. Love it.
It's definitely canning season. That's even winding down, but hey, there's some great sales yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's great opportunities. I think, we definitely get out there, do something for yourself, and start learning those skills and do things, and you'll find your passion.
Right.
A lot of things.
Oh, and this is coming down from upstairs. I don't know if you can see that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a vegan butternut squash soup. So, your face. Really cool. I mean, we saw this thing on Facebook and we thought, oh, we got to try this. So Jewel's been up there making that. It looks really good. She said it was really tasty. Garlic, butternut squash, tomatoes, peppers, onions, really good stuff. And a lot of it came from my garden. So it's really good stuff. So yes, but it is vegan, my friend. So
you know what would be even better? Put a little chicken in there.
Yes, I agree. Some modern Frontier Farms chicken.
Absolutely. Best chicken around.
Right. All right, my friend. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Really good stuff. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on the show. We will be back next week with another exciting topic. We'll talk about that offline and figure out what it's going to be. But I appreciate all the people that showed up, Jay and Greg and Rebecca and just whoever else was out there. We really appreciate it. And, we're only going to get better. So stay tuned, stay up with us. Try to keep up if you can, because we're going to be producing more content. And I've got some videos. That's another thing I'm going to be working on, is a video on end of garden season, end of season. So now we begin the journey inward. We had the journey outside. Now it's coming back in. So it's time for cold plunges. It's time for cold therapy. It's time for all that good stuff. You're going to do it, man. Here we go. Brother from another mother. You ready to get in the cold plunge?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
I know, we're crazy. So thank you, everyone. Remember to learn, do, grow, be a little better every day. This is Tom from Small Scale Life and
Adam, Modern Frontier Farms. I'll catch you guys.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. We'll see you real soon.